Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome back to Just a Podcast. I'm here with Brittany today, and just as always, we're just going to jump right into it. Are there any video games you played as a kid that you enjoy?
Yes, actually, so when I was young, my dad actually gamed a lot, which is surprising because he's like a very serious, like military kind of person.
Okay.
So you wouldn't expect that
Yes.
from someone like that at all.
Yeah.
So he actually played a lot of video games, and when I was little, I used to watch all the time
Okay.
because it was very interesting as a kid. And there was one particular game that we had on Sega Genesis,
Okay.
and it was Mortal Kombat, which my mom was like, "You can't really like
No, no,
shouldn't
no,
really
no,
be
no.
watching that game."
Yeah.
When I was little, but that was one that I used to watch, and my mom would play Sonic the Hedgehog 2 with me because you know
Okay.
how in that game you can have the split characters where one person plays Sonic and the other person plays
I
Tails.
did not know that.
You can.
Okay.
So the cool thing about that is Tails is a character that isn't necessarily like very important. Like you can still do things in the game, but if he dies, he
Okay.
just comes back. Like he keeps respawning. So that was usually the character that I would play at first
Yeah.
because I was a kid. So I was like I wasn't very good at what I was doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
So
dead.
she would play Sonic. And so that was I think where it first started. Later on, when I was older, I think I was like 18, I picked up the game again because I was like I wonder if I could beat it
Yeah.
because it was always so hard for her to get to the end.
Yeah.
Because when you would die, you would always have to have a certain amount of lives, and once those were gone,
Oh,
you had to restart the game entirely.
it's
It was a long game.
yeah.
So she
Ooh.
would get stressed towards the end, and I remember I picked it up and started playing, and I got to one of the levels towards the end, and I think it's called the Egg-Wing Fortress, but the
Okay.
music in that is so stressful. If like for the nostalgic reason, yes, and it's such a
Got
hard
to do it.
level
Got it.
that it's just anxiety. So
Okay. Very
when I picked it up, I
intense.
was like,
Edge of the
oh my
seat. Oh
goodness,
my gosh.
yes. So I finally understood how she felt whenever I would like rely on her to win and
Mhm.
like beat the game, and the stress would just be
Come
so
on,
much.
Mom. You can
Yeah,
do it. You can do it. Beat the game. I got hope
yeah.
in you.
And she would get so stressed every time. So now she can't even like play that game because
Okay.
of the
Just the
stress.
flashbacks. Oh gosh.
Yes. So that was where it all started, though.
Okay.
Hmm.
What games did you play later as a
Later.
kid?
I actually played a lot of like I liked a lot of horror games
Okay.
particularly. So I really like that genre only because the adrenaline that you feel and like that high stress tension of like
Yeah.
I could die if I make this
Whoa.
decision. Yeah, if I don't run, like I don't know where I'm going. So I
Okay.
really love like that kind of thing. And my dad actually used to play Silent Hill, like one of the Silent Hills when I was around 8 years old,
Okay.
and he would try to cover it like because we had
Can't
yes,
look.
so he'd put sheets up to try to like make sure that I wouldn't see anything, so my mom would
Mhm.
get like bent out of shape if I like tried to look or anything like that because I
Yeah.
was very small. So he would put sheets up, and I could still hear it, so I could still hear the
Okay.
music and stuff. So I remember like being really interested in what was going on but also like scared of it at the same time.
Okay.
And so then I finally picked up like my first horror game, and the first one was absolutely terrifying for me. But then eventually I started thinking that it was like the coolest thing ever. So I just started playing a lot of like that kind of stuff. And then I played games with other people. So like Halo when it first came out.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Now, Halo.
So Halo was a big one for
Halo.
me. Yeah.
Oh man.
So I played that. And then I remember recently I've been playing a lot of Overwatch. So
Okay.
now I've been playing a lot of that. I do like some streams of that. So I like to stream my gameplay when I do.
Okay.
But I believe my dad also played Metal Gear Solid before too. Have you ever played that
I've seen
series?
a little bit, but I've
Okay, yeah.
seen bits and clips of the games.
So he used to play that, and that was also a really tough game that I never realized how hard it actually was until I picked up his
Mm.
copy that I had like inherited from him. And I plugged it into my PS2, which still works.
Okay.
And so I was like, I'm going to try to beat this because I
Let's
remember
do it.
watching him do it. And it is a really hard game. It's probably one of the hardest games I've ever played. And I played a
Okay.
lot of games, and that game is
It's
difficult. Oh yeah.
top in the list
Oh
of
yeah.
difficult.
It's very difficult, yeah. The first one for the PlayStation is, oh my gosh, some of the bosses. There's
Whew,
one particular boss at the end. I like don't typically get like salty when I play games, but that
that
boss,
game is
yeah, that boss made me
it's
salty.
yeah.
So, Metal Gear X. The thing about that boss that is annoying is that there's like a very small space between where you can stand forward or back, and
Okay.
you have to move between those two spaces constantly in order to keep like the right balance so you don't
Oh.
die. But it's difficult because the enemy is also moving, so that entire box is moving, and there are two boxes inside that box that are moving that you have to
Okay.
be in range
Oh
of.
my
Yeah.
gosh, it's just you have
So,
to, so much you have to pay attention to.
yes.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
all over the screen. Your eyes are
Hmm.
just everywhere.
Yep. So that was always why it was fun but difficult.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'll never forget that.
Oh
Never
gosh,
forget.
never forget.
Yeah.
Did you ever play the Mass Effect
I did
series?
not.
Okay.
Is it good though?
I didn't play the first. I saw a lot of the first one on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Someone edited it into a movie. The
Yeah.
cutscene, some of the gameplay into a movie,
So
kind
yeah,
of.
so it felt more like
Yeah.
that. I
So I
see.
know I'm playing the second one, and it's just
Can't you change storyline based on like choices you make in that? Yeah.
yes, and
So
it's
that's cool.
one of those games where it's a long, drawn out story, but you're there for it. It's you. Do you want to know more about these characters? You want to know about this character, the choices you make. It's very intense. If you
Oh.
make the wrong one, because it can
Yeah, you
affect
could really affect a lot.
how you save the mission at the end. The stakes start getting higher and higher and higher as you
Yeah.
recruit more members
That
with
sounds
your
really cool
squad.
though.
But the story so far is pretty darn good.
That's good. Yeah.
Very
I
intense.
should try that. Because I think it was Mass Effect and then there's another one I think. Oh yeah, Borderlands. So have you
I've
ever
heard
played
talk of, I've
those?
heard a bit about that.
Yeah, Borderlands is really really fun. Like I've
Okay.
played the first one and then like part of the second one, but I'm planning on actually I think streaming that and then doing like two of the first games since the third one's supposed to be coming out soon. So, but the story in that's really good too.
Okay.
I think the very first game I ever played was Link's Awakening on a Game Boy Color,
Okay.
back when that was a thing.
The
So
thing.
yeah,
Yeah, big deal.
I was like 6 when I got my first Game Boy Color in that game.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was like back when it was pixelated and there's no
Oh
color and it
my
was just like
gosh.
Pokemon Yellow status.
Pixel
Yeah.
music.
So I have played a lot of Final
Okay.
Fantasies. Have you played any of
I
them?
played the demo for the one with lightning in it, where she's mostly in
Um,
the game.
Final Fantasy 13.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was at Best, but that was the place, Best Buy, the demo stations. That was the place to go when your family was checking out TVs or computer.
Yeah.
Let's
The
go play
demos.
some
Yeah.
games.
Let's go figure out
Yeah.
new games coming out.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
The Uncharted 3 demo, the Infamous 2 demo, just
Uncharted, I have that series. I haven't
okay.
played it yet, though. It's installed on my PS4. I just haven't played it yet.
Okay. I haven't played it. I played the demo for Uncharted 3 and
Mhm.
this is a pretty darn good
Really fun.
game.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think The Last of Us sort of reminds me of that too, like similar style.
Oh,
Haven't played it yet.
okay.
Yeah, I was like, I haven't played it yet, but I also have that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it on sale, I think, for Black Friday because it was only $10, and I was like, I definitely want this.
Here we
Yeah,
go.
I just hadn't had time.
Okay.
Kingdom Hearts 3 is the one that I haven't played it yet. I'm
Okay.
starting it. So
Okay. It's gonna happen.
it's gonna happen. That's the one I just downloaded. So yeah,
I
but
saw the movie edit of Last of Us. They didn't make a film, they just edited the cutscenes
the
and the
cutscenes into
gameplay
a
too. So
movie.
I've seen the
Interesting.
whole thing. It's
The story, yeah,
whoa. It gets has its
intense.
moments.
The most recent Final Fantasy I played is 14, which is the online one.
Okay.
So like I never really liked MMOs because I just felt like they were too like grindy, I guess. So it was almost like there were things where you would have to do quests that just felt like you weren't doing anything. Like there was no action. It was just kind of
Okay.
like do this quest or like get this gear, like that kind of thing. It was never really like
Yeah.
something I
You have to
liked.
take a bath.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I had a friend who was like, "You should really play like this one with me," and I was like, "I don't know, like I'll think about it."
Mm-hmm.
And I fought him off for like a year. I was like, I don't want to
Nope,
play it. I was like, I don't have
not gonna
time.
happen.
Yeah, I was like, schools make me busy and everything. But then I finally was like, okay, like I'll give it a shot. So I started playing it, and it was mostly because it is Final Fantasy, which is like one of my favorite series. Is just amazing. So I started playing it, and I ended up playing for 2 years, I believe, and I ended up making a lot of friends actually through the game.
Oh,
So a
okay.
lot of friends from like other states, like other places, other countries.
Holy moly.
Yeah, so it was a really like awesome experience. I don't play it anymore just because it's so much of like your time like to get.
Mm-hmm.
It's an addiction for some people,
Oh,
and I
yes.
can see where it could happen.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
so I put it down because it's not like Overwatch where you can play like a couple quick games and then like set it down. You have to be like ingrained in the
10
community for that
hours
game. Yeah.
tops.
And so that was another reason why I was like I have to put this down. But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and that one's really fun cuz
Okay.
there are things called like raids and those can get really hard. So there was one particular raid I did before I stopped playing when I was back in school, and it was so difficult that if one person messed up, because you have an 8-man team,
Okay.
and if one person screws up, everyone could die. And
Okay.
it's like a 35-minute, 40-minute fight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, very difficult.
Oh, rage.
So, yeah, there were moments I didn't actually get too salty during that because I kind of almost went in expecting people to maybe be learning or like not know exactly each mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I played a black mage in that game,
Okay.
and it's very difficult to position yourself, or it was, I should say. They updated it to where you can cast and move at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But during the time that I played, you couldn't cast a spell and move.
Okay.
And there were like AoEs in areas where you had to be out of it or else you would die immediately.
Oh, man.
So that was a very like, yes, stressful back and forth in between this AoE versus like that one. And there's like a very tiny like triangle of space that people had to stay in.
Cover.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of
So-
it, guys. What video game or soundtracks hit close to home? You listen to it and it just brings you back to
That
you're
is
playing
such a great
video
question.
games, the pizza sitting next to you, the soda sitting on the table, and you're just playing the game.
That is such a great question. Oh my goodness. I would say probably everything, but Legend of Zelda, I believe most of all.
Okay.
For me, like just hearing the sounds from that, like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, like all of those sounds bring back nostalgia. And then they actually have this music genre called lo-fi, and they have a lot of like old school video game sounds that they put in the music, but then it
Okay.
also sounds like a little bit of like hip hop a little bit.
Okay.
But it's amazing homework music because there's no like words usually, and it's like calming because
Mm-hmm.
it's relaxing and it doesn't distract you when you're doing homework. But those are very nostalgic for me because it has
Okay.
like the old Pokemon, like yellow, red, and blue, and then they have like old Spyro, like Spyro. I love Spyro so
Okay.
much. That game series is like one of my favorites. But I played that when I was a kid, like medieval. I played like a lot of, I think even Metal Gear, even just because my
Okay.
dad played it.
Mm-hmm.
So even when I hear that sound, I think nostalgia.
Just
It's like almost everything. Yeah.
whoa.
I'd say probably recently. Have you ever played Nier Automata or heard of it?
I haven't.
Okay, it's this like game that's based off of a series that originally came out a long time ago for Xbox 360, I believe. But it's a series about like androids that experience like human emotion.
Okay.
So it's very in depth, but that soundtrack is absolutely beautiful. Like my friend got it for me for my birthday, and it's like one of
It's
the
just
most
good.
beautiful soundtracks, yeah, I've ever heard in like a long
Okay.
time. So yeah, that's like one of my favorites. What about you? Do you have any like
All Halo games.
all Halos? Yeah,
Just that dun,
the opening, the
that
intro.
piano
Yeah.
and the choir, especially, and especially when that heavy the violins come in, the dun
Yeah.
dun 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 dun, dun, dun part.
Yeah.
It's just epic. Best part is the warthog missions.
Yeah.
Because
Those used to get
are
intense
fun.
from what I can
Yeah.
remember. Yeah,
Just you gotta know how to interact, and then the
Yes.
tank comes at you, and uh-oh.
There's this one part with a platform where I could not seem to figure out how to get the timing of it right.
Mm-hmm.
Because with platformers, it's all based on like timing.
Yeah, oh yes, oh yeah.
So, especially with like speed runs. So, like people do speed runs and it's all based on timing.
Yes.
And like where you are at the exact
Speed
moment of the
runs.
second. Yeah. So, he taught me how to focus on timing in video games through that game. He was like, you want to be patient in certain parts because if you jump too early, like you're basically gonna die every single time. And he's like, so if you notice, every time you're jumping too early, you just gotta wait a second and then you're gonna be fine. And so eventually I started learning the patience aspect of games where like in Overwatch, sometimes you want to spam a button to heal, but it might be too soon to do it. And you might get better use out of your heal if you wait a bit before you immediately use it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about like efficiency, I guess, with certain games. And we would have a lot of like sleepovers too, where we would just play games like the entire night until like 3 a.m. So like that was my childhood, was like if we wanted to hang out on the weekend, it was like let's have a sleepover at someone's house and then just play video games till like 3 a.m.
Everyone's just start playing it. They're slowly leaning back
Yes.
into their beds, just
Yes.
and they're knocked out.
Mm-hmm. And then sometimes it would get so intense that we wouldn't sleep.
Oh
like
wow!
the next day our schedule's all messed up. Yeah. Yeah.
Snap out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the zone.
Yep. I love that though. Like I kind of miss it. Like I can't really do that anymore because adulting is a thing. Yeah. Which necessarily isn't bad either, because sometimes you have to grow out of that kind of stuff. But yeah. Although after graduation, that was I know it was a very like scary. Although after graduation, I did stay up all night playing Overwatch one night because I told myself I would, and I did.
It's time to come back, and
Yep.
then back in black, and let's do this.
Yep. So that was really nice. Have you ever done that? Like stay up all night playing games?
I have never hit that achievement.
Oh.
It's
It's an achievement now.
I've played a game until 7 or 8 o'clock at night, but it's never been till I've never been the 4 a.m., 3 a.m. type of kid.
Yeah.
Oh well. Casper is very happy to hear what we're talking about.
Like what is happening? Is that a child on the other side like making sounds?
I think so.
Wind escaping through the wall.
I think because there is an outside part that kind of goes out here.
Speaking of horror games, I'm just kidding. We're about to be in one.
We're about to be in one.